Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is part 6 of What If Deku had the Omnitrix redo. Now, again, you can go watch my other one. If you have sensitive ears, I don't recommend it, because, I just don't recommend it unless you want to get hurt. Anyway, let's continue. Where we last left off, Vilgax had just pulled out an energy device and said that he was here. And he'd also knocked out Muscular. Vilgax would be looking as it seemed Midoriya went down this place, seeing that Muscular had came from the same direction he did. Vilgax would tap a button on his wrist saying to deploy the drones as 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 there would be 5 hunter drones from like the first episode of Ben 10, as they would land down and they'd start looking, as they would send out their mini drones as they'd be scanning for the Omnitrix, also attacking people who tried to stop them or get in their way. But they were mainly only after had grew impatient from waiting. Anyway, Midoriya would set Koda off at camp, as he would tell Vlad King he doesn't know why they're there, but he was going to find out, as Midoriya would transform into Jet Ray flying out the window, if there was a window there, as before Vlad King could tell him to stop. Kirishima would say he was going to go out too, as Vlad King would stop him. Kirishima would say he had to go help, as Kirishima would push Vlad King aside, but Vlad King would stick Kirishima to the wall using his quirk. At this point, Midoriya would be flying as he would fly past Mr. Aizawa. Seeing Mr. Aizawa, Midoriya would transform in... No, Midoriya... Seeing Mr. Aizawa, Midoriya would pick up Mr. Aizawa and, fly him to the Pussycats, where he would block Magnus' quirk. But in this verse, as 2 hunter drones, as they would land, 2 hunter drones would have come out from the forest, as they would be searching around until they saw the Omnitrix, as the hunter drones would shoot Ben, as Ben would be knocked back. Mr. Aizawa would swing on the drones as he'd kick it in the head. The drones would shake off Mr. Aizawa in the sky, as Aizawa would catch himself using the scarf. As the drones would start attacking the heroes and the villains, as as Magna would see, as Midoriya was down, Magna would rush at Midoriya, but Spinner would stop him, as Magna would say this was a kill person, as Spinner would tell Magna not to do it, and they were only supposed to capture Bakugo, which would shock all the teachers, as the drone would shoot at Spinner and Magna, making them both fall over, along with Tiger and as Mr. Aizawa would back up, telling Tiger to take care of the drone since he was the strongest, as he'd tell Midoriya to go back to class. Midoriya would turn into a Humongousaur, as he would punch the ground, saying he couldn't do that. He would then switch to Swamp Fire, as he would sort of transform his body into a plant and go underground, as because he can do that underground. While going underground, Midoriya would be running, as he would feel a disturbance. He would come out underground to see what was wrong, as he would get attacked, but Shoji would have also tackled him. Midoriya would be missing a leg, as Shinji would say, Midoriya, you're missing a leg, as Midoriya would quickly regrow the leg back. As they'd say, Dark Shadow went out of control. Midoriya would say it was no problem, as Midoriya would throw a fireball at Dark Shadow, making him go down to size, which is kind of weak if you ask me. Midoriya would then say he was going to go find the other students, as he would switch to Spider Monkey to go throughout the forest easier, as he'd be moving because he's a monkey, he's an alien monkey. Alongside moving, I'm gonna say alongside moving, Midoriya would have encountered, Midoriya would have encountered Bakugo and Todoroki, as they would be fighting Moonfish. Fighting Moonfish, Midoriya would transform into Humongousaur as he grabbed Moonfish's wires, but Moonfish would just, cut Humongousaur's hand, as Midoriya would transform into Goop, melting Moonfish's teeth, as Bakugo would rush up, sending him flying down, as Midoriya would transform into Echo, screaming at Moonfish, as Todoroki would then, freeze Moonfish. Midoriya would de-transform exhausted, as he had used a lot of the energy in his omnitrix. He would look at his hand, as his hand was cut, he would ask Todoroki for some fire, as Todoroki would use his fire and just to stop the blood from bleeding. As Midoriya would say that they were after Bakugo, as he would tell Todoroki to take Bakugo back, as Todoroki would say, "What about you? You're tired and you don't have much energy. Your quirk doesn't have that much energy left." As Midoriya would say, it doesn't matter. He has to go help his teammates, Uraraka, and it was just, yeah, there weren't really any other teams. Uraraka and some of the Class 1B students were still out there, and he needed to help, he'd say. Todoroki would say, "Okay, but you better come back safe." Wait, no, he wouldn't say something like that. Todoroki would say, "Okay, help as many people as you can," as he tell Bakugo that they needed to go back, as while going back, they would run into Toga, Asui, and Ochako, as Toga would have just finished taking the blood from, from Ochako, and she would have escaped. And yeah, she would have escaped. Then they would have then Midoriya would be running in his human form to conserve energy, as Midoriya would see Momo and the one dude from Class 1A being chased, as Midoriya would transform into Brainstorm, as he would shoot electricity at him, but the Nomu would switch directions to Midoriya, as Midoriya would transform into Midoriya would transform into Chrome Stone, as he'd shoot energy, as the Nomu would be sent back but would get back up. Midoriya would then transform into a Heat Blast to go attack the Nomu, as he would be punched in the face by something. No, yes, he would be punched in the face by something, as there would be two more robots there, as the robots would start shooting at the Nomu, seeing it was the obvious threat, as Momo and that one dude would get away before Mama would tell to put a tracker on the Nomu and be careful about it, as he would hide in the bushes until he put a tracker on the Nomu, not wanting to get in the way. As the dude would ask, "What about Midoriya?" As they said, or Momo would say, "Midoriya can handle himself." They'd say, "And plus, we're not in fighting condition." As they would go away, Vilgax would say, "Even with the power you hold on your wrist, you can't take out a simple thing like that." He'd say, as Vilgax would also say, but his design has improved over the years. He'd say. Midoriya would get up saying, "Another villain," as Vilgax would say, "Don't label me like that, you human. You shouldn't be talking down to someone who's far superior to you." As Midoriya would transform into Midoriya as Heatblast would shoot fire. Midoriya as Swampfire would shoot fire at Vilgax, as Vilgax would just block it, as Midoriya would rush at Vilgax, as Vilgax would throw a punch, as Midoriya would switch to Big Chill, as Vilgax would be frozen. Vilgax would break out the ice, saying, "Did you think that would defeat me?" as he would throw a punch. Seeing that it wasn't working, Vilgax would take out a device from his hand in case he would have had situations for this. Taking out a device from his hands. Taking the device from his hands, he would throw it on the ground as he would punch Midoriya, as Midoriya couldn't shave. Midoriya would transform into Brainstorm to try to make up a plan, but Vilgax would say, "You think I'm stupid enough to make you come up with a plan?" as he would throw a tree at Midoriya. Midoriya would dodge as Vilgax would rush at Midoriya, kicking him into the ground. Vilgax would go for an attack as Midoriya would transform to Echo Echo. Vilgax would say, "That sound is nothing but me. That sound is merely just a whisper to me." As Midoriya would say, "I'm through playing around." As he'd say, he would turn into Humongousaurus. He'd start stomping on Vilgax, punching. He would fall down because he was tired, as Vilgax would say, "I see, so you have some combat experience, even though it might be little." As Vilgax would activate his muscles as he would jump up, punching Midoriya like an uppercut. He would then pick up Vilgax, throwing him as he would start to punch Midoriya. He'd go for another punch at Midoriya, but Midoriya would switch into goop. Midoriya knew he was almost out of energy, so he had to end this soon. Midoriya as Goop would go around as he turned into Chromastone, firing. After Chromastone, he would turn into Big Chill, freezing his feet. As Vilgax would go for an attack, as Midoriya would switch to Goop, as Vilgax would say, "So predictable," as Vilgax would slam his hands on, as Vilgax would grab Midoriya's saucer, as Midoriya would fall to the ground knowing he couldn't do anything. Vilgax would press a button on the omnitrix de-transforming Ben. Ben would say, "How did you do that?" As Vilgax would say, "You'll find out soon enough," as he'd throw Midoriya into a tree, as he would then slam Midoriya on the ground, as he would say, "Kachan," as Vilgax would punch Midoriya in the face, knocking him out. And that's where I will leave this part off, part 6. Yeah, thanks a lot. Another fun fact, because I want to do those every video I do, Vilgax, if you've ever wondered what Vilgax was, if you wonder, Vilgax looks like an octopus. It's because his species is like octopus. If you watch like the season finale of, Alien Force, you know that Vilgax's, species is actually like a water kraken. But I guess if you really watch that, you would know. Okay, another thing, Vilgax, uh, Vilgax's home, Vilgax's, Vilgax's race, Vilgax's species is called a chimera. Vilgax's alien species is called chimera. And despite Vilgax being really powerful, Vilgax's species is just like any other species. On their home planet, they have houses and stuff, and it's just like Earth, any other species, which is kind of surprising based off of how Vilgax is, how powerful he is. You think everybody would be afraid of that species. And it also turns out, despite how evil Vilgax is and wants to take over the universe, he's actually very caring to his own people, even going so far as to ask Ben for help to help the people of his planet. What I thought was a bold move. I'm not gonna lie, after that I thought they'd become friends, but I should have expected it. Anyway, hope you liked it. It should be Monday. I'm posting this on President's Day. Have a good day.